Hey, did you watch Dynamite?
Yes, I did.
All right, so they start off with a triple, the three-way for the Continental Classic Tournament Gold League semifinal match, right?
Hmm.
And let me ask you a question. Maybe
Mhm.
I missed this. Did they promote this as it was going to be an ODQ match?
I don't. No, not that and someone, of course, will nail me and say, no, of course they did, but I didn't see it. I didn't hear it.
Because
Maybe that was maybe at the
well, here,
beginning.
no, here,
Yeah.
here it is. Okay, because I'm gonna read. Okay, because I was half-heartedly paying attention to this because I just want to see what the finish is, right? But it's funny. Um, so they hop over the barricade, and the rest of they fall in the crowd, and Swerve sat Mox in a chair and bit his forehead. And Taz acknowledged that referee Paul Turner was being very lenient, and he said he understood given what was at stake. But then it just, I think the announcers, didn't they say this is a no DQ match? It's like they didn't even know it was a no DQ match before it even started.
I'm the same as you. Like, I had it on. I didn't notice that they changed it in the middle, or maybe at the beginning when they announced the tournament, they made clear like, hey, the final is going to be a no DQ, and we just don't know. I'm
Right.
not sure. Yeah.
Right. So this was actually the finishing sequences were good here. They nailed all the finishing sequences on this. But Moxley went over. This was a long match, but I'm saying they could have done without. This could have been a shorter, not had no DQ. Because this finishing sequence was the last 3 minutes of this were very well done, in detail.
We mentioned this back when Mox beat Swerve in the tournament, and I disagreed. And Conan said, well, maybe he'll get the comeback win. So I was surprised that he didn't. And Moxley gets, I was just surprised by that. I thought they were going to give it to Swerve as a revenge for the loss, but I guess not.
Yeah. All right. So some video package recap the Blue League. All right. Then so this is weird.
They did. I'm sorry. They did promote it as no DQ. I'm seeing it on WrestleZone here.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't. Will they promote it on Twitter, or do they? I don't know.
Yeah,
so,
Twitter.
Okay. So this is weird. Okay. So Tony Schiavone interviews Swerve and Prince Nana in the backstage interview set, and Swerve vented about how badly he wanted to win. And he said he proved he's one of the best in the industry, if not the best, and he pointed out he wasn't pinned. Then Swerve shifted his focus to Keith Lee and said he had nothing to do in Long Island. And Schiavone pulled out a This is so lame. So Schiavone pulled out a contract. Like Swerve brought this up, and it's like, oh, by the way, I have a contract. Nana vented that he didn't approve the contract, and Schiavone said it was for his approval. And Swerve said they see if Lee shows up on Saturday. So Keith Lee versus Swerve is a match, and this was the angle. So right. I want to know if Dave Meltzer considers this an angle, all right, or storyline.
Yes,
because he says there's too many storylines, right?
Yeah,
and there's no follow up on the Swerve MJF segment from last week, which was the best part of their show,
right?
So Renee Paquette introduced Mariah May and asked her to walk through her brutal attack on Riho. And May said that what Peck calls a brutal, all she did was hit her with the belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she calls it. May said that what Paquette calls a brutal attack, she calls it supporting Tony Storm. May said the fans have been waiting for an announcement regarding her debut, and she said she didn't feel 2023 had enough glamour. So her debut will be next week on the first AEW Dynamite of the new year. Then this looked so atrocious. Rio, all 80 pounds of her, comes out and chased May. Like, this girl's running away from this little girl, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Tony Storm ran out with Luther and Storm entered the ring and tried to hit Rio with her belt, but Rio ducked it. They did the exact same spot they did last week where Rio gave her the forearms and got her in position for the 619, but this time, instead of hitting her 619, Storm fled to ringside in the arms of Luther. And she's Luther's holding her. Then Riho, and very slowly climbs up to the top rope and jumped on them like they couldn't see her doing that. Riho looks ridiculous. This was so ridiculous. Riho has no facial expressions, for one thing, and she's super small, and she has no fire in any of her offense. And it's just like she looks like a little 12-year-old girl out there attacking the other wrestlers, and they're scared of her and attacking them in an unconvincing way. I just do not get this at all. Nobody does, really, except the AEW fans that will never ever boo any of the things at the live shows they don't like.
Right. Now, AEW and its presentation and the way their fans are, they're not going to the women talent, but they brought in Mariah May and Harley Cameron, who actually used to be a team, which sounds incredible to me, but they brought in two smoking hot girls, and Mariah May for the AEW fan base also has that Stardom experience. So I think they're going to use. I think she's going to be something.
All right. So Dante, Darius Martin, actually, and Andretti were delivering a promo backstage, and Dante said they came up short against the Acclaimed. He said there are plenty of other teams and started to issue a challenge. Orange Cassidy, Rock Romero, and Trent Beretta walked on the set, and Cassidy said he saw what they were doing and accepted the challenge. And after Cassidy and Beretta walked away, Romero told the confused trio that Cassidy did the same thing to him last week and said he would see them on Friday's Rampage. Then Andretti looked into the camera after Romero walked away and accepted the challenge for his team. Andretti opened up a bottle of water and smashed it while consuming the full bottle in roughly 1 second.
Yeah, wow.
And this was as just did not, bro. These guys, you're getting TV time for character development, doing promos, everything. This did nothing for anybody except for Orange Cassidy, who was always in character like that, and all these other guys just stood there and looked like.
Right. Yeah. I don't understand what the impression is because he can drink water really fast and look tough. That was odd to me. Yeah.
Okay. So Excalibur hyped and Lexi Nair was conducting a sit-down interview with Christian Cage and Copeland. And they showed Cage waiting for Copeland to show up as they were Shayna Wayne and Nick Wayne. He asked who Lexi is and wondered where Renee Paquette was. And Cage asked if Copeland was going to show up and then said at least one of them was professional. Then they go to a video package with Miro challenging Andrade, so at least it makes, whatever it was. And then they announced the match. They showed what little those two have been doing together.
Right.
So Shivani stood in the ring and had 4 covered items behind him. They were obviously paintings. He said they were doing a celebration for Boxing Week. Boxing Week is the week after Christmas in Canada and Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So Excalibur explained that Boxing Day is a Canadian holiday, and Taz said it's Christmas, but it's not. The Don Callis, Powerhouse Hobbs, Koneski Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher made their entrance and joined Giovanni inside the ring. This is one of those situations where people wonder why AEW has too many belts. Kyle Fletcher has a belt. What is Kyle Fletcher's belt?
Well, let's find out.
Okay, Callis took the mic out of Shivani. Took the mic out of Shivani's hands today. He had something important to say. He said it had been difficult 2 weeks for him. Callis said he couldn't have gone through it without his family, and Callis said he got calls. He got them all gifts for Boxing Day, and he unveiled all the paintings which showed each member in there, very cheesy but funny.
Yeah.
Then Sammy comes out, and Callis started to say it was like Christmas all over again, but Guevara covered the mic and then glared at Callis. Long time no talk, Don, Guevara said, and Callis asked if he got the gift that he sent Guevara's baby. Callis said he didn't know Guevara would be there, yet the 4th painting was for him. Callis had Guevara unveil the painting, which showed Guevara holding his baby while other family members stood behind him. Callis said it was like they had a new member of the family. And the Guevara asked Callis, told him to put his baby in the painting. And Callis said Guevara isn't exactly mentally capable of being a parent, but the family is there for him. Guevara said Powerhouse Hobbs beat Jericho and Konesuke Takeshita beat Kenny Omega twice, but the people don't remember it because Callis makes everything about himself. Callis said he was disappointed that Guevara dropped the ball and didn't show for the best opportunity he ever had, and then was gone for 5 months on maternity leave. And Callis told Guevara to choose his other family or the Don Callis family. And Callis said that Guevara was wrong. He'd remember as being just as big of a failure as a wrestler as he will be as a parent. Guevara shoved Callis, and the other members of the family put the boots to Guevara. Then Jericho made his entrance carrying a baseball bat and cleared the Callis family members from the ring, and Jericho used the bat to destroy the first 3 paintings. Bro, this is very dumb because he hit it and glass flew into the crowd.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah.
Watch the guys in the front row. There's
yeah.
But like one of the piece of glass hit the guy. You can see the guy,
Yeah.
So he destroyed the first 3 paintings. He gave it to Guerrero, who destroyed the painting the Callis made for him. Guerrero held his hand out, and they hugged. Then Ricky Starks and Big Bill hit the ring and attacked Jericho and Guevara, and the lights went out in the arena. When they turned on, Sting and Darby Allin were inside the ring. Sting and Allin attacked Starks and Bill, and then Jericho and Guevara held clear from the ring. Joe, is this going to be on video?
No, I don't put the show reviews on video.
Okay.
Why? What's up?
I want everybody to go out of their way. I don't even know why they did the AEW on TV Twitter account that blocks me. Okay.
Okay.
They actually showed the video of this. Okay. And I want everybody to go back and watch this. Watch Big Bill selling the baseball bat shots from Jericho and Sting. This is hysterical because Big Bill is literally just grabbing the second rope and bending over for them to hit him. So Jericho literally takes the bat, toss it over to Sting. Big Bill literally slides down the ropes to over where Sting was, exposes Sting so Sting could hit him with the bat.
Right.
And then he wasn't even selling it. He was barely even selling it. Like, this guy's getting hit with a baseball bat, and and he didn't try to run out of the ring. It looked atrocious.
Especially because not only is it a bat, but a bat shot from Sting should hurt. A bat shot from Jericho, who uses Floyd the Bat, should be a thing. Yeah, it should hurt.
Right. So I'm not being a hater. I'm pointing out as a guy that used to be an agent. This was I don't know what Big Bill was doing in there, but that was not good at all. So
I'm looking at a different review than you, but the guy points out, he's like, that was like 4 segments packed into one to set up this 8-man tag probably. But I was going to say, obviously they had to put something together because Kenny was suddenly out.
I'm not knocking. Well, first of all, the people that were knocking this were saying you just threw away the whole Guevara. Like Guevara turned on Chris last time they were in the ring together.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, and now all of a sudden Chris is hugging him, and it's but they had to do something to get out of the Kenny injury. So I'll give a pass on this because they had to do something, but this wasn't that good. But I'm not criticizing them. Like Guevara and Jericho getting back together, but they could have done some more. I don't know. It's hot-shotted, but necessary. So whatever.
Yeah, they might revisit it.
And mainly the AEW fan base will forgive them if the angle is not that great, just as long as it's an angle.
Yeah. And he's another one we were talking about in the mailbag about the fans that have turned on Tony and Conrad Thompson. Jericho's another one who seems like he can't say anything without he's got thousands of roles.
Oh yeah.
And of course, as he is a friend of the show and stuff. I'm gonna take his side and everything, but it's like, don't you guys remember just a few years ago when he was the man because he had the match with Omega, and then before that he was with Owens? Everybody loved. When did this happen? Everybody despises Jericho. Not everybody, but there's a lot of it, a lot of negativity.
Right. So Danielson versus Eddie Kingston for the oh no they did a backstage where Roderick Strong was with the two guys and they were doing they had this big mural MJF. It's just more comedy. Stupid. And Bryan Danielson wrestles Eddie Kingston. I don't get it. And Eddie, I guess this fan base likes Eddie Kingston, but his work isn't even close to being on par with Bryan Danielson. Mm-hmm. And he looks kind of slow and clumsy out there too. Sometimes he's not that athletic, but like I said, the style he works, he should just be a brawler, Murdoch. Yeah. Instead, he tries to do Japanese style wrestling. And I'm not buying it. Right.
Yeah.
So he goes over with a power bomb, and so Moxley comes out afterwards and gets face to face because they're going to be in the finals. And Moxley had a mic and said all he's ever asked for if Kingston is 100%. Moxley said that for a guy who is angry at the world and thinks that the world is against him, he has a lot of people who love him. Moxley said everyone in Orlando and around the world love Kingston, and Moxley said the fans don't care if Kingston wins or loses, but they deserve his maximum effort. Moxley said the problem is that he knows Kingston better than he knows himself, and said he and Kingston both know that Kingston can't beat him. And Moxley said Kingston already lost. He's already making excuses. Moxley said a couple years ago he let Kingston die in his shield, and he said he would do him no favors. Then Kingston got mad and took the mic away from him and told him he's talked enough. He told Moxley he's not to talk to him like he's his young Wheeler Yuta. Kingston said the king of the bums is going to push Moxley, and Kingston said Moxley better show him fighting spirit because he would show him his. He said he would bust up Moxley at World's End and Taz played up Kingston as a heavy underdog. This is really good stuff. That's what I said. Eddie is really good on the mic, but I'm going to make a point. This is one of the reasons that I think that AEW does poorly in the ratings. Okay? And I've said it all along, it's the work. Bro, they continue in every single match almost to do the Japanese fighting spirit spot where you're standing there letting the guy hit you.
Yeah.
And when everybody's doing it, it looks like the most idiotic psychology that anybody could do in a combat sport, where you're fighting a guy for 10 minutes, and at the end, after 10 minutes, you decide, well, I'm going to let you hit me, and it's just stupid. And you can't convince me he's good. And just because they do it in Japan, and Dave gives Japanese matches star ratings, and I would take away like 3 stars every time these guys do this. The matches don't look good when that spot's in there, and they don't.
Right. And I've always understood what you meant. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, they're saying you're on the show where there's less people watching, and I'm telling you that's one of the reasons that less people watch is because the matches that are being promoted as great are not. They're kind of this is just a stupid spot if everybody does it every single match.
Yeah, and I've always understood what you meant, because when you watch shows with casual fans who are friends and they ask it's all about, and you have to explain to them that they do it in Japan. It sounds stupid. It works for this audience because they get it, but casual fans don't really, especially when and it happens so often that it's lost a lot of meaning.
Right. So backstage, Christian complained the interview said about Adam Copeland leaving him hanging, and Copeland. So I thought I thought this would be a good segment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Adam shows up in the center, they start fighting, and they're fighting through the hallway and just pull apart, and it just turned into a big brawl.
Yeah,
I thought the sit down would have been more compelling television.
Yeah, I thought we were getting like a Jones Cormier where they used to have them not the split screen, but when they used to have them sit in the room. Yeah,
it's like I don't know why they did this instead. Like that would have been a really good television segment. So I don't know.
Yeah,
this did not make me more interested in that match at all. So Chris Statlander against Sky Blue and Julia Hart's there with Sky Blue. For some reason, if I ask you what are Sky Blue and Julia Hart's characters, what would you say?
They've turned into just young, right? They're just cocky young.
Are they?
I guess.
Have you heard Julia Hart say anything in an interview in like the past 3 or 4 months?
No, never.
Like one spoken word.
No, but I'm just going off.
What about Sky Blue since she's done her heel turn? Is she any verbiage or anything? Or do they just start dressing more like ominous looking and the announcers go, "Oh, look at that! They're on the dark side now," and just and all they do is just stand there with no facial expressions or anything, and there's no. It's just like a 0 on a scale of 100, 1 to 100. It's like, okay, dress like this, and this is your character. It's like, well, okay, what are we supposed to do for a character? So we'll just do, and if I told you, well, don't do anything, that's what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, I saw one Sky Blue promo. I think I saw it on Instagram, and that's where she dropped her line. She says something like "chin up," and I'm gonna whatever it is. So that I remember that because I was like, oh, she's there. Like they're gonna put that on TV. So
why do these girls never get any mic time on the show?
I mean, that's a lot of the criticism of that division.
I know nothing about them. And just if somebody out there can explain and show me a clip somewhere of like a compelling thing that they've said or done, or that explains these characters and where they're coming from, I'd like to see it because I'm in the complete dark on this. It looks like two green indie girls that were told to do a character and they have no clue what to do except to dress up like they do
and make cocky faces.
Right. So then at the end, so Sky Blue goes over Chris Statlander.
And that tells you something.
Which I don't know, whatever. There was actually pretty dangerous looking finish. She did the code blue from the second rope.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, Blue threw punches at Statlander where Hart stood there and watched with no facial expression, just literally just stood there and watched. Then Blue held Statlander up, and then Hart hit the Statlander with a clothesline from behind. Then Willow Nightingale ran out and put both heels down with the clotheslines before they scurried from the ring. Then Hart and Blue went to the bottom of the entrance ramp and started walking up the ramp, but Abaddon came up the entranceway and acted spooky and weird on stage is the way it's being described here, which is weird. Her character is completely – every character here, Chris Statlander having to be around these three characters that don't know what they're doing is like it brings her down, in my opinion, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah, and the loss too. Surprising loss.
Right.
And almost Sky Blue – though they turned her heel and she's getting pushed. It just seems like a repeat. They've already done that with Anna Jay, where she turned heel and was kind of cocky and stuff. I don't know what they're doing with her now, if she's been replaced or if ideally they're saving her for Jungle Boy's comeback and they put them together like you guys have, or I think Conan said, as like the hot young couple. But I don't know. Yeah.
So Renee Paquette interviewed Ruby Soho and Saraya and noted that Soho will face Marina Shafir on Rampage. Saraya interrupted says that she got Soho something special for Rampage. Saraya introduced Harley Cameron and said she hears she'll do anything with her hands. Soho got a phone call and left the set, so it's probably the guy from the calling her. Saraya assumed it was Angel. Oh yeah, she assumed it was Angel Park and claimed she loves him. Paquette asked how this came together. And Saraya said Cameron could show her. Cameron pulled out a large kitchen knife. Then Saraya said the other thing and said they would fill Paquette next week. This was very awkward that she pulled a big giant knife out.
Yeah,
but that girl's pretty hot, so she's got some value in her character. This was I don't understand this. Maybe I'm missing somebody. I don't watch Rampage. I'm not going to watch Rampage, so whatever. Speaking of Rampage,
giving her a knife, just real quick, is like Conan always said about Drew McIntyre with the sword. Like you can't stab somebody. Introducing her like that or introducing a knife to her character. It's like, all right, well, what you get ever going to do with it? You can't do anything with it.
So next was so this is hysterical. Okay. So, we're what do you call it? most of the fans are smart fans. So it's literally like 4 minutes to the top of the hour. So everybody's assuming that the show's ready to end. But then we'll forget we're supposed to have the Ring of Honor tag team title match between MJF and the Devil, the Devil's Mask Man. So MJF gets the first ring entrance, and like this is everybody already knew because it's three minutes before the top of the hour. And the funniest thing was just listening to Justin Roberts. Like we see it's 3 minutes to the top of the hour, and he's going, "This next match is one fall with a 1 hour time limit."
Right.
All right, dude. So MJF comes out. Joe doesn't come out. The masked men come out. They go to they show in the video in the back. Joe is selling on the ground. He's selling his knee. So MJF has to fight these guys 2-on-1. There's not a lot of time left of the show. The announcer's saying we're going to go over the top of the hour. The masked men, MJF is getting on with the masked men. So a third masked man comes up and hits MJF with a lead pipe. Referee doesn't see it. The Devil's Masked Men beat MJF in minute 25 to win the Ring of Honor tag team titles. All three men put the boots to MJF. Samoa Joe's music played, and he limped to the ring with a chair in hand after blowing off 2 security guards and failed to stop him. The Masked Men entered the ring, and Joe limped over to MJF, who was lying on the mat. Joe helped MJF to his feet. Then the Devil appeared on the big screen, a big graphic read "Pleasure doing business with you." And in the ring, which everybody could see coming from a mile away from the time that Joe limped down there with the chair, Joe hit MJF from behind with the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Joe told MJF he did this to him and then gave him a muscle buster. And Joe picked up the AEW World Championship and put his foot on MJF before holding the title belt up. This was you can see this coming a mile away. This was
right.
This was an angle that everybody knew what was going to happen, so it wasn't good. So, what did you think of this?
I just saw it coming from a mile away, and the only thing that's interesting to me is I'm a sucker for the masked new stable of bad guys coming in. Who's it going to be? What's going on? But this reminded me, and AEW fans won't like it, but it reminded me so much of that TNA biker gang angle. What was the what were they called?
Aces and Eights.
It reminds me a lot of Aces and Eights, and AEW fans probably would have over that angle when it was in TNA. This kind of reminds me of it big time. But there's a good card on Saturday. They did what they could. I figured MJF and Joe was going to end like that. They did what they could with the Jericho team and all that, and Sammy. It's a good card. Hopefully, it picks up their momentum for him. The show was okay. It was okay.
I'm not interested.
Major complaints.
I'm not interested in any match on that show on that pay-per-view. I'm not going to watch it. So
yeah.
I mean, what are you interested in?
Swerve. I just like Swerve in general. I know him and Keith just set this up, but then Christian and Edge will have a good thing there. The 8-man will probably be good.
Well, Christian Edge. I want to see what they do with Christian Edge.
Yeah,
I mentioned that. Yeah,
and then Eddie and Moxley. Just because
completely not interested.
Longtime fan of both, but now that
tournament finals,
for the Triple Crown Championship, DI,
another championship. It's like you got 9 million championships, and you need another one that's supposed to care about.
And I actually just noticed that Hook's going to wrestle Wheeler Yuta for the FTW belt, which I didn't hear anything about that on the show. But now you mention it, it's actually not that great a card, but there is some good stuff. So we'll see.
All right, that's been our AEW review.
Enjoy the rest of the show.